Hey everyone, welcome back to Engelbard Gaming. What's this, another video already? You might think that I forgot how to release videos in back-to-back weeks, and if you think that, well, you're wrong! Here is an unplanned video, and I'll tell you all about why in just a second here. What you're looking at right now is PlayStation Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Why am I showing you this? So you can get an idea about what this one looks like versus what we're about to see, which is the latest demo of the Sega Genesis homebrew version of Symphony of the Night by Pigsy and a whole bunch of other people, including yours truly. If you didn't know, Pigsy has been working on a Genesis version of this game that is action-based for a long time. So it's not a standard Metroidvania where you're not gonna travel around, go back to other areas, get powers and all that jazz. He is going to work on a separate version of that, or at least he wants to when he's finished with the action version of the game. So that may still come, but that's not what's going to come first. There have been a few demos of the game released up to this point, and I've showed you some of those in the past. I've had interviews with Pigsy about them. I'll link to all that stuff in the description below so you can check them all out. Now, Pigsy released this demo of the Royal Chapel area about a week or so ago, but this is a brand new version I'm showing you, and he just released, to me at least, last night, where it corrects a problem introduced by me, where I forgot to put the looping code in the music for the Royal Chapel. If you weren't aware, I've done about a third of the music that appears in the homebrew version of the game that we're about to see, including the Royal Chapel music that you'll hear in this version of it. So this one is a little different than the demo that came out a week ago, and I'll go into detail about what I changed in the song because I did some other changes to it later on for any of you that might be interested in that. Alright, let's get on with it. Alright, we get to start out with choosing a resolution. We can either do 256 pixels wide or 320. 256 is the lower resolution mode on the Genesis, but it happens to match the resolution that was used in the PlayStation original. Now the Saturn version was a little stretched because it doesn't have that 256 resolution, so that's another reason that some people think that one ends up looking a little funky, compared to the PlayStation original. So the 320, I'll note while we watch the intro here and listen to this music that was not done by me. The 320 is listed as widescreen, but it's just the Genesis's higher resolution mode. So it renders a few more tiles in each direction basically when you get down to it, and you can show a few more sprites on screen when using a 320 pixel wide mode. So it's all stuff we've covered before. I'm just getting it out there. I'm gonna let this intro play this one time just so you can see all the artwork that's on here. And then I'm also gonna show you the difference of what it looks like in 256 versus 320, but we'll do that at the end. And just for a moment, I'm not gonna play the intro multiple times. You'll just see a little bit of it the second time through. And then here's a familiar looking sight to any Symphony of the Night fans. And all of this looks very cool, I must say. Now, one thing I do absolutely want to stress here is that this is sort of a preview, almost alpha kind of version of the game. So there's a lot of things that aren't final in it. Pigsy has been working on this for a long time. He's doing news sections a little bit at a time, getting things done, and just trying to get him down into the game first, and then he's going to move on and fix things up more as he goes along. So you're going to notice there's some control weirdness. Oh, first up, you also get to choose Alucard or Soma here. So this version of Soma is the one from Dawn of Sorrow on the DS, but we'll take a look at that later. That level select or map screen, we can only choose Royal Chapel in this particular demo. So as I mentioned before, this demo is updated, so this one has a correction for the problem of the song not looping in here. The song you're hearing now, this is the one that I contributed that you're hearing in this demo. If you didn't know, I've done about probably a third of the songs that are in this game. That will be in the final version. So several different areas. Lots of other musicians worked on it too. So this has been a really big team collaboration style project. So you're gonna hear like different styles, and I think that's great for a fan project like this, hearing different people's different takes on things. And I just want to stress, I really think everybody else involved in the music has done a fantastic job on all of their tracks. So for the music in here, aside from just fixing the looping problem that was present in the original demo that was released last week or so, I also went and I updated some of the instruments. I went and made a bunch of them a little bit less loud so the sound effects could be heard better. Just Oh, right there, you'll see Pigsy hasn't implemented it yet, so you walk off the screen into a new area. So you have to hit start whenever you go to a new area. Here I just showed you a little bit of the parallax scrolling background, while I was jumping around before pressing it. And again, you can see some of the parallax there if you look in the upper left corner, so it's there. I don't know if he's going to do anything else in the final version, maybe to make it show through a little bit. We'll see as time goes along here. But these background graphics look great. A lot of them were done by Pyron. Pigsy did a bunch of them, also were original versions, and Pyron did some updates. So very big team effort for lots of people in the Genesis scene, in graphics, sound, and programming. So a lot of talent here working on this game. And I did that one on purpose so you could see the head rolling down, so he did retain that from the PlayStation original. Then I follow it all the way down until it goes away there, just poofs out. Well, with the song, some of the other stuff I did was just some changes to it to make it a lot smaller. Because the original version I did of this was like 330 kilobytes, which is gigantic. That's bigger than some Genesis games. Because if you use some effects, some FM effects, the way that it writes the music files that are usable in the games these days, it makes them very large because they write certain things to registers over and over. So I replaced a lot of the automatic effects with manual ones, and that reduced, the size of the song, basically cut it in more than half. So it's a lot smaller now than it was before, while also sounding better. So that's always a good trade-off. I can still shrink it even a little bit further, and I also did change some of the samples. Lower the quality a bit on those, like with the lower drum, because it wasn't super noticeable. Alright, so here is the boss fight. I did not do this music. If you looked at the credits at the beginning, this one was from Aleander. So Pigsy did a lot of work creating this boss fight and changing enemy behaviors and stuff and making it a little bit more challenging. You're going to see me get through it on one try here, but that's because I practiced a little bit before I recorded the video. One funny note here is if you download the demo that Pigsy has available of this to play it yourself and you use save states, you're going to discover that it creates a problem and things don't work right. Like, I used save states originally just to kind of figure out how to do the boss fight so I could get this recording done as quickly as possible. There's none on display actually during this recording, it was just to learn how to do it. And what happened is after I beat him on that recording, I couldn't play the game again until I went and manually deleted the save state from the RetroArch directory that it was in. So that was fun figuring that out. But anyway, after you've got the boss down, he's really not too bad. He's got some basic patterns, and using the book lets you take out all the little things that he shoots out. Or she? Are they babies? I'm not sure. Anyway, I guess they are babies because it looks like they're eggs and they hatch and go after you. Without using the book, it's a lot harder if you try and just dodge them. You can do it, but it's tougher. And there's one behavior this boss has that we don't really get a chance to see much of. Like, I'm going to do a second run with Soma, and you'll see that, and I also do it in the widescreen mode, so we have something different to look at. But here we go. There'll be one where he just runs left and right on the bottom area, and it's super easy if that happens, because you can just kneel on the edge of the steps and just hit him, and he can't hit you. So that's the end of this little demo. When you hit start, it just takes you back to the credits screen here. So my second time through, I'm going to choose the widescreen mode, and you can see things are a little bit more of an oval now with the test pattern instead of a circle. And as we do the intro now, and again, like I said, I'm not going to play the whole entire intro, you can see now that the character graphics are off to the right instead of behind it. And they look a little bit crisper. And that's just because we're seeing them squished down a little bit more. It's the same image, but taking up less real estate on the screen, so it looks a little nicer. And you can see this looks a little sharper and everything also. Same reason. And this time we will pick Soma. And again, you can't choose any other things, just the Royal Chapel. So this is the DS version of Soma. Controls are the same, right now at least, between Soma and Alucard. You'll notice that the skeletons are a different color than they were before. That's because they share a little bit of the main character's palette. So when we switch from Alucard to Soma, the color that was used, changed also. So for the controls, let me go by exactly what they are here. So A is your backslide, B is your attack, C is your jump, and Y, if you're using a 6-button pad, will launch your special attack, which in this case is the Holy Book, your sub-weapon. Now, when I mentioned a little bit earlier about some glitches with the controls, there's some issues right now, and I'm sure Pigsy will work them out. Like I said, this is very early still. This is just sort of a preview of it, where it doesn't always pick up like sometimes when you jump an attack, you'll see the weapon doesn't always come out. Other times, like you'll freeze in place and you can't move backwards for a split second. These are all things we've let him know about, so he's aware of this stuff already, and I'm sure that they'll be addressed, pretty soon. I know he's getting ready to release another demo in the near future. I don't know if any of the controls will be updated for that one. They will be updated soon, and I don't know if he wants me to say what's in the next demo, so I won't, but I will say that the next demo is coming sooner than you probably think. I know his plan right now is about at the end of the month, and, it's August 2025 as I record this if you're watching it later. So we'll see. He hasn't made any promises or anything, so please know that it could slip if, real life gets in the way or if he's got other stuff he's got to do. But that's what the plan is for right now. You'll know that Soma was also, of course, in Aria of Sorrow on the Game Boy Advance. He didn't use that one because that one is lower resolution and a little bit smaller, when translated to the Genesis screen. While this version of Soma is also a little bit smaller than Alucard, it's close enough that it's not a huge deal. So that's why he went with this one. I think this one's better anyway. I mean, it's got more detail. It looks a little nicer. If you've played both games, Dawn of Sorrow on DS definitely looks better than Aria of Sorrow on Game Boy Advance, which looks great, but it's much lower resolution and a little bit chunkier. And this fight is exactly the same. It doesn't matter which character you pick. You will get to see a tiny little bit of the other behavior, which is just running back and forth on the ground. That happens near the end of the fight. So with this, there's a lot of stuff that's really cool that is already in all these demo versions, or these preview builds, if you will, of Symphony of the Night for the Genesis. I do want to stress some more information about it I talked about at the beginning. So the game is intended right now to be a standard action game rather than the Metroidvania style game. And actually, Pigsy wants to release two versions. He wants to do a standard action game, and he also wants to do Metroidvania style one. So aside from that stuff, he also plans to do a Sega CD version with some higher quality music that he can grab straight from the real games. That's going to be interesting in how it works out, only because the real games, well, it might sound like it, they don't use Redbook CD audio, so they take up a lot less space than normal Redbook audio does. So you won't be able to have all the music from the game on a single CD and CD quality, but there might be other ways around that. So we'll see what happens with that as time goes on. Anyway, we're almost done here and we'll wrap things up. Alright, so that's the latest demo for the Genesis version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night completed, this time the Royal Chapel area. We can expect another area demo pretty soon, as I mentioned. I also have done the level music for that one, so I'll be looking forward to that one coming out to see how it sounds along with the background graphics and everything. And I can't wait to see more progress on this. Pigsy's been doing a great job so far. I love seeing each new version and the things that have improved. I've also put a link in the description if you want to download the demo on your own. I don't know if Pigsy has the new one with the looping music up yet as I record this, but I imagine he'll put it up there soon if it's not already. Alright, so I'll just leave it at, tell me what you guys think of this so far. What do you think of the game? What do you think of the demo? What do you think of all the music in it? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Tell me how everyone's doing. And that'll do it for this video, my retro gaming friends. If you enjoyed it, please like and share it online somewhere. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. If you'd like to support the work that I do here, you can do that on Patreon, Ko-fi, or right here on YouTube through things like Super Thanks or channel memberships. With that, I'll say thanks for watching, and see me later.